gears a bit and bring attention to an important topic, and that is the one of privacy. How can marketers continue being creative, imaginative, and nimble to flourish and survive following the major privacy reset? Join marketing gurus Sathish, KS, CTO of Zeotap, and Raiyan Yusuf, founder and managing director of MagnoBiz Digital Solutions, as they discuss their experiences navigating this new environment and what they're doing now and what you can do to survive and prosper as well. Please welcome them to the stage. Hi guys, how are you? And we know Elon's very upset over privacy right now.
Okay, so there is this phenomenon called mid-morning crash. It happens to people who take coffee as soon as they wake up. So in case anybody is in a mid-morning crash, privacy is like a, economists generally call, like, economists have this tendency to take down an interesting topic, break it down, and make it boring. And we technology is not that far, so I'm a chief technology officer. So I am not a marketer. I build tools for marketers. So I come from a company called Zeotap, which is a customer data platform. And I have been a technologist for almost 2 decades now, working in big data, AI, and multiple solutions. And happy to share my perspective on privacy, AI, and marketing. Thank you.
Hi, very good morning. My name is Raiyan. I am the managing director of the company, MagnoBiz Data Solutions. I started this company in 2019, and currently we have a client base of over 60, majorly from United States. And yes, we actually do PPC and search engine optimization, right? And that's all for me. So let's start with the conversation that is the future of privacy, future of artificial intelligence, right, in marketing through the privacy lens. So the very first thing I want to start, with the question. That's the very basic questions from Sathish itself. So Sathish, how do you see the privacy in the fairly new space as a marketer, not as a marketer, but I would say artificial intelligence and marketing, how do you correlate to each other?
So sure. Probably let's start with privacy itself, because it's a fairly new concept in terms of under the digital discussion at this point in time, under governments and other things. There is a standard definition for privacy, so I'll just read it out. It is from a 1970s paper. You may not think at that time privacy was existing. So it is probably released after Stanley Kubrick released his movie Space Odyssey. So they would have really thought, oh, this is something which can happen. So it goes like this. Privacy is an individual's claim or control to decide when, how, and what quantum of information about himself he can share to others. Okay, this is a dictionary definition. Now let's see in the current business context why we are talking about it and set the stage to that. So this is nothing new. All of you are used to privacy in various forms or other. So how many of you have registered to something called DNC in your mobile providers? DNC. What is the full form? Do not disturb. Okay, it's not the do not disturb DND registry it is called. So that is one form of privacy in terms of you creating a wall saying that don't contact me unnecessarily. Now comes email. Okay, after mobile, the emails that come. Email is another thing. In email, how many of you are using unsubscribe? Unsubscribe is mandatory whenever somebody is doing, right? So that is another form of privacy, just that we are not connecting the dots. So this has been around. Now, the stage is set such that with the advent of social media and all the digital things, say with 2008, the advent of smartphones, the amount of information flow is humongous. So the two factors which I told, one is the control and another is the others in the definition which I told. The others is expanding like anything. Okay, you don't know who are the others at this point in time. Who all has your data, what they're doing with this. So your control rapidly goes down. So this is the context why privacy is coming into picture at this point in time in this era and in this world. So it is nothing new, just that we are trying to connect the dots at this point in time. So Raiyan, just a segue from there. I know you're running a marketing agency and very successfully as well. He's one of the 20s millionaire for your information. So
No, that's not true.
So-
I'm not a millionaire, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. So based on the concept which I told in terms of privacy, how do you see from a marketer's lens?
So as a marketer, I'm looking the artificial intelligence actually in a positive way because we all are using artificial intelligence somehow in our marketing, campaigns. Let's say if we are using any content creation tools like Jasper, right, or any tools. Even if you use PPC, Google Ads has a recommendation, right, through which we actually know what kind of bidding strategy that we have to use, what could be the ad copies and everything, right? So this is part of artificial intelligence only, right? Voice search assistant. And in fact, in a digital marketing field, right from the start of digital marketing, like the website designing, right? So we started, introducing the chatbots, right? Chatbots in our website, and also the AMP pages, that is the accelerated mobile pages. So somehow we all are using the artificial intelligence. So there is a lot of horror that has been created till now that once AI will be introducing, right? So the marketing jobs will go down, right? But that's not true. As I would say, in fact, it will empower the marketers to target the audience in much personalized way, I would say, right? So if as a digital marketer, if you are doing only A/B testing kind of thing, landing page, so obviously that is something you need to upskill yourself. Otherwise, you will be having no value in the digital marketing field, right? So upskilling and growing, that is something very important, right? So like A/B testing. A/B testing is something that should be go to the machine only, right? So that's not a job human can do. Obviously human can do, that's not a job human should do. It should be going to the machine perspective. So I'm very fruitful. I'm looking at fruitful aspects of the artificial intelligence. It's not something it is creating horror. It is going to lose the job.
Okay, great. So just building upon the same points in terms of why a marketer should look at privacy or even think about privacy. I don't know how many of you are really reading anything about privacy. Can you raise a quick show of hands? You're not a marketer. Any CMO from the actual CMO organization, any CMOs who are reading about privacy at this point in time? Okay, good. Then let's start with something in terms of the stakeholders. Okay. How many marketers here are trying to access data on a day in and day out basis? 1, 2, yeah. I would assume it's a much larger audience in terms of what you're trying to do with data, right? So let me put it in two perspectives. One, as a marketer, the reason you need to think about privacy is there is a possibility your access to this data is abruptly cut off, okay? So that is more like you become a passive stakeholder. So in the past, if you wanted data, you'll just go to your tech team or product team and say, hey, this is my business problem, can I get the data? Okay. Now, in the current world, what happens is they'll build a product or build some kind of data marts and assets and give it to you for you to do analytics, whatever he told in terms of A/B testing, multi-banded testing, whatever, advanced things, right? You can do many things with AI. Once you get access to the data, that access getting curtailed is not a good scenario. Second thing is, as a marketer, one of your key KPIs is going to be trust, right? Yesterday, I came across a couple of sessions. I believe I would have heard, I'm not a conversational AA, I just overheard the trust being told at least 10 times when I was sitting here across the sessions. So, trust becomes a very important KPI for you. In which case, privacy and trust are same side. Okay, it's the same coin. It's nothing different. It's just a different way of saying that. So if you want to enhance the trust of your brand to your customers, you need to think about privacy. And you can become an active stakeholder of privacy in terms of what you could potentially build. As we move on in the conversation, we'll go into some specific examples of how companies are doing around this in terms of managing the trust. So this brings a very, very interesting thing. We have heard about this phrase time and again, that necessity is the mother of innovation. So there is a sub-phrase which I like to quote in terms of transformation. Now, you are the marketers here, the data teams and the product teams and the other teams are here. You go and ask them data. There is this additional personality who comes up. How many of you have heard about this particular personality called data protection officer? Yeah? Yeah, data protection officer. Now, before you got the data, now this fellow will come and ask, him or her will come and ask, do you have consent? What are you going to do with the data? And do you have his preference? Are you going to access his PAA? Who all in your organization is going to this? Where all are you going to flow these preferences into? And how you are going to ensure it will be deleted after a certain time? And you will go like, ah, yes, oh, yeah, maybe, nah. This is exactly the situation, right? So this tension, so this factor is the tension. So I'm just coming to summarize the necessity and invention part. So tension creates transformation. And I think there is a small inflection point in terms of the whole marketing happening. So this tension between this access and this particular marketing concerns is going to create a transformation. So that is why I would implore you to just have it in your radar. It's not like there are various contests here in terms of you may not think about it at this point in time because the current audience and country and culture which you live in may not necessitate that at this point in time. But it is coming in the future.
Yes, so as Stephen Hawking once said, artificial intelligence can be the best and worst, inventions to the humanity, right? So you are talking about the privacy part, right? I do agree with you, right? But obviously, being a loyal brand, you just need to, make sure you need to ensure that actually whatever you are, projecting towards the user. So that could be, related to the user intent, right? So you have to gain the trust of the user. Once you will start gaining trust of the user, obviously users will automatically, share the data with you, right? So you have to use the technology as well, because that is something very important. You have to gauge the performance of the user, what actually behaviors they are performing on your websites or, or any places, any online platform places, right? So I would say, yeah, exactly. That's the challenge. But technology is evolving, right? So I'm very pretty much sure, we will find a way to penetrate that part as well. Sure. Yeah. And the next question I would like to ask you, Sathish. Just a moment. So it's for the segue, right? So some questions that I have noted down here, right? Segue into market segmentation and based on the country, culture, context, and also the perception of privacy. So this is something, these are the most asked questions by the users itself.
Sure. So before that, just since Raiyan touched upon the AI aspects a bit, I just thought I'll put a bridge between AI and privacy in terms of how it is happening. AI by itself is creating lots of paradigm shifts, no doubt about that. So why I'm giving this context is this also blends into the country and culture and the consumer preference context. So you have to understand that AI is more like it is giving the predictions. It is not helping you in judgments. Okay, this is a very, very fundamental delineation which you need to have in your head. Second thing what AI drives is, it creates a certain amount of probability in your whole system. Okay. Now, how it ties with privacy, it's the same thing. Same like how I talked about the two dimensions of marketer for privacy, AI also has two aspects. How many people remember this Tay, which was, I hope I am pronouncing it correctly. Microsoft put a Twitter bot called TAY. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's Tay or Tay or whatever. It started very well, but they had to bring it down in 24 hours because it went into a complete inflammatory this thing. It just learned from what is the trending things in Twitter at that point in time. So AI can act as a impediment or it can act as a very, very impactful thing on privacy. Okay, so we will in course of conversation, we'll just look at certain examples in terms of how AI can do that. So AI and privacy, this is how it's connected, and privacy marketing, we had a connection. Now coming to the very important aspect, because we are in MENA, okay, and I come from India. We both come from India for that matter. And yesterday I happened to attend a couple of sessions in the health tech as well, 1 or 2 sessions. Very interesting stats which came out is like in Japan at this point in time, 40% of their demographics is above 60. Okay, so I am throwing this question to a marketer. We had a couple of sessions here. We talked about YouTube channels, Instagram channels. Any idea what would be the penetration of these particular avenues into aged demographics and how you are going to change your marketing strategy there? Anybody wants to take a stab? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
okay.
India
So
is the youngest
same
country.
like that, whatever you call it as that judgment, which is based on the country, that translates into the AI and the privacy semantics which you're building as well. So, for example, AI by innate does not have moral concerns. Let's be very clear. It does not have moral concerns. That is something we need to feed. And if there is a moral issue, who takes responsibility for that? So these are all the, I would say, country and culture specific in terms of how you're going to operate it. Another very simple thing, Indians and friends from Pakistan need not answer. What does this mean? This is called the Indian nod. Any idea, sir? The front? You know this? It's yes. This? In Europe, it's no. Yeah? Maybe. Yeah, more or less you're there. So this is kind of an infinite loop. It goes like that. So these kind of micro expressions, given the AI is trying to even the human-machine interface, which is one of the important areas of data collection which is happening, it has this nuance. I just gave you very simple nuance, and the complex nuance are the cultural fabrics, which is very, very complex for us to determine, right? So these all play a part, and the other major factor is many of you would have known about, again, Amazon tried a hiring AI algorithm. Okay, they wanted to automate their hiring and screening, and that went into a complete discriminatory mode within a month or so, and they had to shut it down. The reason is the input bias based on all these various factors not taken into account. Okay, there is an interesting thing there as well, because bulk of the AI research is happening in very advanced economies. Okay, so if you directly put that AI and privacy things into an economy which is not yet ready, it might create more harm rather than really help you. So this is one point I just want to leave, and probably Raiyan, you can add from that point.
Yeah, one more thing I would like to add. I beg to differ, from you. So people think that AI is the future, right? But in my perspective, AI is present and also a future as well. If we take examples from Google itself, so Google has, rolled out an algorithm that is rank brain. Actually, that is helping Google for the better search intent of the user. Netflix started video recommendations, right? So that is also, and I guess as per my knowledge, Netflix saved over $1 billion, right? And Superdry uses email marketing, artificial intelligence bot, right? So we all are using, right? We are getting benefited with that. It's not something that could get that could be horrible in the coming future, right? So because companies are using artificial intelligence, as a marketer, we are using the artificial intelligence tools and services from the tools, right? And we are obviously machine. For me, machine cannot compete with the human brains, as it is my perspective, because we have a complex brain, right? We are unique, and machine is something they are producing output, right? So whatever the data we are putting into the machines, based on the data, the machine is providing the outcomes, and finally we are the judge who are making decision whether machine is giving the correct data or not. Let's say if Jasper.ai, right, they provide the content, right? There are some terms, some statements you can write over there, and this will give you like 100 to 150 words, content. But when you will see, when you will look at the content, right, it will look more like similar, right? There is a arrangement of words that you can check over here, but ultimately you have to make lot of adjustment there. So obviously, ultimately, we are the one who are making adjustment. We are the one making final decision. So uh, artificial intelligence is just to help us, right, for the better marketing strategy or anything we are using or utilizing, right?
Yeah, no disagreements there. That's what I'm told. Artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
if you have this delineation in your head between prediction and judgment and the decision, you could probably tune it correctly to not impede, but actually be as a friend or a sidekick for you, right? So that really works. No disagreements there.
Yeah, the next question I have for you, Satish. Because as you are not what I look, you are not looking artificial intelligence in a positive manner, not in a much positive manner. Obviously, you are supporting it as well,
Well,
because
I
it
have a
depends on the
80% success
because
rate
there is
in
a
putting.
big I would say this is a big bang information that is going on right now, right? So the data is transmitting in trillions, I would say, right? And currently the 5G is already deployed, right? And in coming 5 to 10 years, I would say quantum internet, will be going to implement, right? So the data transmissions, will be, I guess, multiplying in trillions, right? So how do you say that it is, artificial intelligence and something that is aggravating the situation of the privacy?
Yeah, so it's not exactly okay. By the way, just the stats here. Since you mentioned, I'm not positive about artificial intelligence. Generally, industry stats is like only 20 to 30% of DS and AI programs goes into production. But in our company, we have been lucky enough to have it at 80%. In fact, 3 or 4 patents on artificial intelligence more than anything else. But from the privacy lens is what I'm trying to say. What are the problems? Okay, because it's not like it is hitting us today. It is more from a futuristic perspective, and probably at least in economies like EU, if you look at the fines of GDPR, just if you can search in the last 2 years, ever since it came into force, in 2018, it's close to upward of $1 billion. Now, many of us here don't come from that large companies for whom a $250,000 or $500,000 is a pittance. Google can pay it and get away, and they can just run the show. But for a small and medium business, it is a make or break. Even if you get something like a $1 million lawsuit, it is a make or break for many of us sitting here. Probably some of you are coming from big companies, know this thing there, but what I'm saying is, in the general trend, in terms of the companies which are upcoming, it creates a major problem. So that is why I'm just cautioning certain things in terms of where privacy and artificial intelligence, when you're putting it together, it can actually impede based on all the input biases, which could be from your own data collection, your own mismanagement of data, the cultural and the country bias which is flowing in, right? So it has the innate nature of kind of amplifying the entire effect. And you don't want to amplify negative effect. You have to always think about amplified positive effect.
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
exactly. There is always a pros and cons of each and every technology, but ultimately we have to identify the positive aspects as well as the negative aspects, and we have to emerge, as a in technology, so that we can protect the rights of negativity as well, because negativity is something that will that might hamper the privacy. It will intrude the privacy interest, I would say, right? But ultimately somehow technology is evolving, right? Technology is evolving, and in coming future we can see there might be some more technology that will actually complement the artificial intelligence, right? And so through that we can protect the privacy, as well as we can target the audience in a better manner, based on the privacy, based on the user intent. Because in coming time, what I am thinking about it as artificial intelligence, if we are using because Google Home, Alexa, right? These all are the examples of artificial intelligence. We are using, fans, ACs, everything. We are just, giving command, to the machine, Google, just do this for me, do that for me, Alexa, do this for me, do that for me. In the same manner, even artificial intelligence, take place our kitchen as well, because the fridge and everything, right? So whatever, the grocery items or inventory that fridge has, so you will come to know that it is going to be, at end, and afterwards, automatically you will get notified because this inventory is not present right now and you cannot use it. So and then you might look at the ads there at the kitchen item itself, right? Because let's say if a silk chocolate, right, and all of a sudden you are getting notifications that silk chocolate is not present in the fridge, so currently this is 50% offer is going on, right? And if you want to buy that, please go ahead. Otherwise, you might ignore one time this 50% offers that the artificial intelligence bot is providing to you, but maybe 90% obviously it will trigger to your mind, and eventually you will end up buying that product again. So it's a pros and cons, but yes, in future I am very much fruitful, and obviously there some technologies will emerge over the period of time, and that will suffice the rights of the privacy as well.
Yeah, sure. So coming to other points in terms of marketers, what you need to look at. Definitely, if you're running a digital marketing stuff, look up these kind of keywords. What does consent management mean? What does marketing preference mean? And what are the privacy regulations in the territories which you're operating, and whether the collection semantics are in line with that. These are it's kind of a self-regulation, right? Then always look at regulatory bodies. I talked about this friction. So the regulatory body has become like a non-friction moment there. Okay. So these are all couple of things which you as a marketer might need to look at it. So probably I'll be aping Steve Jobs' iconic moment of introducing the iPhone. So you have AI, privacy, marketing, privacy, marketing, AI, marketing, and privacy. So you could put any two in the left-hand side and the third one in the right-hand side, and you can create an impact effect or an impeding effect. Okay, so just remember this equation of this trio. It's very important in your future as a marketer as well.
Yeah, so the next question for you, Sathish, is how do we reduce the friction in the end-to-end flow, especially how to reduce customers' reluctance to share the data?
Yeah, so it comes back to the trust, this thing. So create a proper trust program for your, and trust, as I told, it's a marketer's KPI. And whatever I mentioned the previous point, ensure those are all very publicly postured so that you earn the customer trust. And it is like auto augmentation, right? The more trust, the more data, and the more data, the better trust you create. So it goes into a nice self-amplification view. And you can use whatever AI techniques you want, right? There are like 100 techniques. I don't want to go into the techniques because marketers, the classic shampoo example, you might put some selenium dioxide acetylcholine inside it, but what the user wants is like he just wants a dandruff-free wear. So you need to know what is the user benefit which is going to come because of any of these techniques, and how we are going to showcase to the external world. So yeah, just start with basic self-regulation on the couple of pointers which you told, and ensure you have a radar of all these privacy jargons as well. And I think that will take you to the next level in terms of how we are going to operate this trio.
Okay, the next question is, what could be the framework or roadmap you can, as per your experience, you can provide us to, save the privacy as well as.
It's very nascent. So that in EU, by far, one of the most mature framework is called the Linden framework, which is helping there. But otherwise, you have NIST privacy framework in USA. So these are all couple of good reads for the academically oriented and how you can cross position. But it is under research. Many of these things are under research.
Okay, now we have to wrap up, summarize with the last questions, right? So what is the value of doing all this right? Is there anything that you can suggest?
Okay, I think I don't need to suggest. Probably this is a question to the audience. If you get this trio right, AI, privacy, and marketing, Any doubt in
Anyone
terms
from
of
audience
how
who
the
can suggest?
equation works?
No, no one.
No?
Okay.
Okay. I think the mid-morning crash is still hitting. Okay, not a problem.
Okay, so that's all for today.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from the audience at this time? Does anyone want to come and ask a question of these guys? Super interesting chat. Thank you so much for that, gentlemen. Wonderful.
Thank you.
We've had some fantastic chats this morning. It's been absolutely brilliant. Guys, take a photo. We need you a little photo on the stage. Don't run away. Everyone's like, no, I'm running away. It's fine.